Okay, let's see what happens when this piece of the rocket falls off. Notice what's written in the clouds over the oceans. Clearly says Allah.
Don't give in to shaitan. Oh, you who believe, please give thanks to Allah. Allahu Ghafoor.
Can you see the words of Allah? Here's a sign for you. It was a sign for NASA and the astronauts. The Allah is the greatest. Allahu Akbar.
Allah is Ghafoor. Allah is Rahim.
First trip to the moon, July the 20th, 1969.
He is our creator.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you and Allah's mercy and His blessings. This is the second part of the Greatest Miracle 2, which deals with the miracle of splitting of the moon. So here we're going to show you the evidence regarding the moon was once split in half, and the discovery was made by NASA by spending $100 billion to discover this fact. So we're going to see here the splitting of the moon in half. Like I mentioned, in the era of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, peace and blessing be upon him, a miracle was performed from Allah. This was the first time NASA went to the moon, July the 20th, 1969. As you can see, the astronauts. But the Quran records this fact of the splitting of the moon 1428 years ago, or more than that. The hour, Judgment Day, has drawn near, and the moon has been cleft asunder. And if they see a sign, they turn away and say, this is continuous magic. They applied this Quran and followed their own lusts, and every matter will be settled. And indeed there has come to them news in this Quran, wherein there is to check them from evil. Perfect wisdom this Quran, but the preaching of the warners benefit them not. So, O Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, withdraw from them the day that the caller will call them to a terrible thing. They will come forth with humbled eyes from their graves, as if they were locusts spread abroad. Hasting towards the caller, the disbelievers will say, this is a hard day. Okay, we're doing a scan of the moon now. We're going to see the moon from all directions, and we're going to zoom into the moon as well to get a clearer view of the division of the two halves of the moon. Now NASA has done a bit of research on the rock, and what they've discovered, that deep within the core of the moon itself, they found the rocks on the surface of the moon found inside the depth of the rock, which then prompted them to conduct further research, and they discovered a clear split in half of the moon, right in the center, exact center of the moon was split, and it was split all the way down to the other side. So the moon was once in two halves, and that's what they've discovered. And from the split, it caused the vibration itself, the earthquake, caused the rocks from the top of the moon to fall within. So once it came crashing together again, the two halves perfectly joining again, it basically caused the rocks to spill into the center as well. So we'll say a big thank you to NASA's team for proving this miracle, which cost them 100 billion to conduct this investigation for us. One of the non-Muslims, he was listening to a talk, and he took a copy of the Quran, and when he heard basically when he went through the Quran and he found the verse that said that the moon has been split in half and the hours drawn near, he put the Quran away and he said, This is total nonsense. How could the moon be split in half? No. Islam is not the true religion, and he totally discarded it. When he heard discussion of scientists on the BBC discussing this, and the presenter was asking NASA, why did you spend billions of pounds when there's a need for poverty, spend the money for poverty and so on, and their answer was that we have discovered that basically from all this money we've discovered that the moon was split in half, and he rushed back to the Quran again, and he picked it up and said, this is the miracle of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, peace and blessing be upon him. And he immediately embraced Islam, he investigated Islam even more, he read the Quran even more, and he's seen more and more miracles found within the Quran, which is consistent and logical. Like I said in the first video that I did, it has to fit in with your mind, and your heart has to accept. It has to be naturally acceptable, not by blind faith. Okay, this is the fact, and Allah always says in the Quran to reflect. Look, He tells you to reflect, ponder, and really consider the reality, not just to believe in something blindly. Okay? And this fact of the splitting of the moon was found 1,428 years ago, just like I said, and here it is, NASA claiming that they've discovered something completely new, that the moon was split in half, and they did the research and they actually recorded the period, and that period was exactly the same period approximately of the time when Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, performed that miracle as well. So who told him this? Who performed this miracle? What is the answer?
Give thanks to Allah for the moon and the stars. Praise Him all day for what is and what was. Take hold of your iman